All right, welcome to the Harbor Freight Greenhouse. If you guys remember, if you've been here before, or if you're new, here's a recap. It is 3 Harbor Freight greenhouses of the 6-foot by 8-footers. We combined them. They are one long greenhouse now. It's 6 foot wide and 24 feet long. There's some insulation behind me on this back area. This back section that I'm standing in right now is actually my oldest greenhouse from 2015. It still needs to have some stuff done. Behind me, you can see it's got plastic and that one's done. This one, for whatever reason, just keeps getting put off. But anyway, it still holds some decent temperature, but honestly, it's an ice box. The insulation here helps. There's insulation on the back wall that reflects it back in, and there is one wall that is done. But there is a huge, I think this is made by Rubbermaid. I don't know. It was a gift from a neighbor. And I've had it in here forever. And it's my compost bin. It's a huge compost bin. And I keep it full. And I try to keep it hot in here all winter long. So I'm reheaping it today. I reheap it. So I think I didn't do it last week. So it's probably, because I had Thanksgiving. And you know how that is. So it cooked down. So I'm adding in a whole bunch today. So far, I've added 10 gallons worth of wood chips. I've added about 5 to 8 gallons worth. I mean, I'm talking about these buckets. I'm stuffing them full. And that's what I added so far of some grass and weeds and leaves and this and that. And I'm going to run out to the goat pen. It's sunny today. So I'm going to run out there and clean one of the goat pens. Well, not one. I'm going to be scraping them all. But anyway, some of it I'm going to toss into buckets. I'm going to probably bring 5 to 10 gallons worth in here. I'm going to put that on top of the grass. And then I'm going to go back outside in the yard, go mess around, find some leaves and grass, add that on top of that, and then more wood chips. So I'm going to make a sandwich of compostable stuff in this compost bin. Yes, I could add cardboard and newspaper and blah, 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 blah. I just don't have any handy right now. I guess I'll flip it around and show you what I'm doing. All right, I shoved all the green stuff aside real quick, so it's like really in there at the moment. But I'm going to lay it back down because there's my wood chips. Yes, this was already somewhat full. I would say it was about just under half full. It had cooked down pretty good. So I added 10 gallons worth of the wood chips. I added the greens. I'm going to go flatten that out. I'm going to go out, grab animal waste, put that on top of that, go get more green stuff, and then add the wood chips on top. It's going to create a cocoon, a sandwich, if you will. And the bread or the cocoon is going to hold in the heat. Yeah, the wood chips break down, absolutely. But the green stuff and the animal waste is what's really going to get this thing cooking. And so anyway, this will reach 120, 130 degrees Fahrenheit. And then after it's hit that peak, it'll come back down to 50, 60 degrees. And so once a week, I try to turn it. And then I refill it and we'll get the temperature back up. Sometimes it really will. This is going to be a big one. This one is easily going to hit 120, 130. I'd say it's probably closer to 100 to 120 each week. Some weeks it's gotten pretty hot. Just depends on what I'm shoving in here. And it cooks down. I have this. He got really cold the other night. I didn't get in here and turn on my heater and stuff fast enough. So this tomato used to just take over and I'd been kind of working around it. I folded all of it down, but it is still alive down there at the base. So I'm going to see if I can compost around it and not cook it. So far I've been successful. I haven't cooked this thing to death. It just got too cold in here for the upper part of it. So I just folded it back down. I need to just cut it where it's all dead. But sometimes you'll get leaves that'll pop in. So, but anyway, filling up the compost. And then, it's just making a day. Homestead day, right? Always something to do. All right, guys. It's almost full. I've actually got to add that bucket down there of wood chips. But I wanted to be able to show you some of the layers. I did start this with wood chips, and on top of the wood chips, I added some grass and leaves. And then I added animal compost, which actually you can see some of the brown through there. Then I added more green stuff. I added weeds and leaves and just walked around and just pulled this, that, and the other and cleared flower beds. And then on top of that, I'm adding the wood chips. I'm going to add that other bucket so it'll really contain practically all of this. I'm still trying to avoid that tomato that's hiding in the corner. Yeah, he might cook. I don't know. Anyway, I can add those other wood chips, and then I am going to soak this with water. I'm not going to like drown it. I don't want to overwater it, but the water is really going to get in there and encourage this to decompose. And that's what we want. We want to decompose this, or, you know, we want it to be no more. And we want to get heat from it. And then the end goal, of course, would be good soil to use by springtime. And I am going to keep adding to this each week. Now, you could add other things. Sometimes I'll just dig a hole in the middle, and I'll add kitchen scraps, and I'll cover it back up. Just be creative. Of course, you know, there's some things you do not want to compost, and that would be like dog and cat feces. You know, I mean, use your brain. Don't be composting things that you know, better judgment, y'all. So anyway, hopefully you guys can try this. I haven't been able to do it this year, but I did it. So in here in the greenhouse, one year I took and I made a long row of compost, and then like a heap. And then over the top of that, I had the containers, and I kind of set them on top of it and kind of somewhat into it. And anyway, I had read about how our ancestors did that. Our ancestors would make heaps, and then they would grow plants over the wintertime using those heaps. And so I did that. Haven't done it this year. I actually could do it also in some of my really large container pots if I wanted to tinker with it. I'll play around, see what I want to do. That's one of the things I like about gardening, is you can always find out what works, what doesn't work, tweak it here and there. It's just a giant experiment all the time. Can you believe we just had one of the coldest Novembers on record since 2000? And it's one of the 7 coldest Novembers, like on record, something like that for Idaho. Yeah, kind of crazy. And I'm still growing in the greenhouse. I know last year I had some moments where I was like, oh geez, this is not good. Remember, I did the candles, I had heat lamps, all of that going on. Still have the candle spots ready just in case. I can't remember. It's like within a couple days here. We're supposed to be down. Oh, actually, we did survive a night of 14 degrees this week. They said we'd get down to like 20-ish, and we hit 14. So, and I didn't have everything really on. I had the diesel heater going, and I think I had one heat lamp. Maybe both were going. But yeah, it's been so cold. But we are headed to a few nights of down in those teens here coming up in a few days, or maybe it's tonight. I don't know. I'm actually not too worried. Yeah. Are you guys growing anything over the wintertime? Did you bring anything inside? You got anything in your garage? Got a greenhouse? What are you guys trying to do? I mean, everybody's been prepping, right? I mean, I think I put up a lot more canned goods this year than I have maybe ever. I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm still canning. What about you guys? You guys still canning away, being busy, you know, keep that pantry stocked? So here's a plant. I have quite a few of these growing in the greenhouse, actually. It's a weed. And did you know it's got more nutritional value than spinach? I just kind of top it off here and there, grab leaves, and just go chop them up, and been feeding it to the family, and they have like no idea. But that's just another one of those crazy things I've got growing in the greenhouse. There is a buttonweed growing in there. Can you see that buttonweed? Or the mallow? Yeah, it's growing in there. I'll let it grow. There's actually a sage in there. It's a sage plant. It's supposed to be a sage pot, but well, it's not, you know. And the marigold's hanging on. Got a little bit cold one night and suffered, but I'll trim her back a bit. See if we can't get her convinced to pop back in. And this is one of the jalapeno plants. I actually need to get these pulled off. I'm going to go pickle them probably. So I can encourage this plant to keep growing. And I have some pepper plants. Let me see if I don't know. I don't see. Yeah. Anyway, I've got a couple that are actually trimmed way back. They're kind of like in a dormancy. There's some tomatoes. We had a really cold night when I wasn't quite prepared, and some of them are like, they're a little bit shocked. And yes, I even have pots stacked on other pots. I'm still getting this whole thing put together. Let's see, down there's 4 different types of basil in there. There's some dill, and tomatoes and peppers and weeds, and I don't know what they are yet, but hey, maybe they're edible or useful as medicine, so I'll let them grow until I decide they're not worth growing. And just because I mentioned it, that is the little diesel heater. It is by Vevor, V-E-V-O-R. My little tank right there, diesel tank anyway, that's got me through the week, not quite a week, not 7 days, but like 4 or 5 days, I think we've ran it. I turn it on usually right about 6 o'clock at night. And depending on the morning, depending on how warm we are, it's getting turned off anywhere between 7 a.m. and 10 to 11 a.m. There was one day, I think I let it run till 1. It was seriously cold. It was snowing. It was windy. It was icy. But other than that, I tried not to run it very much. But I mean, it's obviously it's running. But that's a nice, handy little heater. So if you're interested, the Vivor. And I can go into a lot more detail. I can show you how we piped it and everything else. But I figured it's not fair. I mentioned it, so I might as well show you what it is. I don't know. Do you guys remember these three? They've grown. Rain is the one standing behind the one with the painted belly. The painted one is 2.0, Piglet 2.0. And the mostly white one is Paige. This, woo, that's the mom of the two darker girls. That's Piglet. Hi, sweet girl. And she's out here. The Boer goats have been enjoying the pasture. And these guys, they usually get to be nice. Oh, the pecking order. Anyway, that's your daughter. Be nice. But anywho, Piglet. Anyway, the little girls usually come out and are on the pasture out here. But I was like, let's put them out with the big goats. They're getting to be big girls. And yeah, you guys are just the odd man out, huh? Yeah. You guys got each other. Your Piglet is a holy terror. You're not getting out. Stop it. And of course, the Boer goats, we have some serious bullies in the group now. Thank goodness 3 of them are headed to freezer camp. But yeah, they're going to work on the pasture, eating it down when the weather's good. You guys, are you not impressed? They're like, no, just take us back. We're not big kids anymore. You thought you were pretty big this morning. No? And I don't remember if I showed you guys when I completed that, but we kind of redid some of the pens where the wethers and bucks are hanging out here. Moved some of them. And actually all 3, you can't see the one, he's kind of chilling over there. But all 3 of those boys are for sale. Gotta go. I need room. That's a very dead snowman. It was nice cold. We got like 4 or 5 inches of snow dumped on us. But then it got hot. So it is what it is. And yes, still have Bobby the steer. His freezer camp date is everything, if everything goes as it's supposed to, his freezer date is about a month away. So, and he's an Angus Jersey cross. He has that Jersey attitude. He has the Angus attitude. And he's a sweet boy, but oh my gosh, when he gets to be in a real stink, he just, he's got the front end of an Angus, and then it tapers into that lean nothingness of a Jersey. It's kind of frustrating. But, yep, his butt is going to freezer camp in about a month. You crack me up. We still have Nikki girl. She's hopefully expecting babies. Miss Aurora, the 14-year-old senior. In human years, she's over 100 years old in human years. Still got her. You can probably hear the stinky butts. Hi, boys. These guys also have a freezer date for less than a month away. No, we're not discussing. They're like, okay, if we go to that end, she feeds us. Well, hold on a minute. Yeah, freezer camp is coming, and it's not going to get here soon enough. These guys, this guy here especially, I cannot feed him enough. Like, he's always hungry, which I know he's a pig, but constantly, I cannot keep up with him hardly. And the little red Duroc, he's pretty chill, but the Hampshire, whew, yeah. Anyway, freezer camp for those ding-dongs. Earlier this year, Piglet had her boys, and Twix was the one that she didn't like anymore. We still have Mr. Twix. He's hanging out. Hopefully everything goes to plan. And yes, you keep growing, become a big boy, and hopefully next year he'll actually have a date with Miss Nikki there. We'll cross him with her. No? You're thank goodness you're just still a baby. Yeah. Nikki's hiding. It's getting cold. You guys need to go bed down. He's got his soccer ball. He likes banging it around, playing with it, and chasing us around. When he gets out each day, he chases us around.